paddock for this sixth round of the season at Autopolis. I can confirm that you pronounced Oita correctly, Oita Prefecture correctly, so congratulations on that. And speaking of Mount Aso erupting, I was actually doing a bit of sightseeing in this area on that very day that Mount Aso erupted, so that was a bit of a surprise to see that fulminating from the other side of the Aso area, but yeah, obviously hasn't had an impact on this weekend's race, fortunately, as we get ready here for the first part of GT300 qualifying. Quite an incident-packed free practice session this morning, 3 red flags, which is why we've had a delay. And in fact, all GT300 related. We had an off for the number 55 ARTA Honda.
And the Hoppy Porsche as well, another one to miss out. The BMW didn't really get going at all, the number 7 Studi M6, so they've got problems. I'm sure Jamie will find out what those problems were. But the early pace setter, the J-Lock Huracan, just scraping through in 8th place. Motojima aboard that. Well, here are your top 8 that will go through. Toyota ahead of Subaru, then it is that Toyota there, the number 30 machine, the first of the mother chassis, the number 5 in 4th, ahead of the Lotus mother chassis, then the Audi, and the Nissan and the Lamborghini GT3 all going through. The Good Smile AMG car missing out, that's one to talk about. Kataoka aboard that machine. And Kimiya Sato didn't go through in the Hoppy car either. The Sochia engineered machine, they missed out. And that Arta NSX of Ren Sato not at the races as well. The BMW we know struggling rounding out.
But they were well outside of the points as a result. Here are now the teams and drivers that are in action for this group.
Satoshi Motoyama. No introduction. Kai Cozzolino, familiar face in GT300. That Saitama Toy Pet machine, one to look out for, as is the realised Nissan, João Paulo D'Oliveira in that car. Very, very experienced and very, very quick, as we know. And there's Senna Sakaguchi in the 96. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on. He's a very quick young driver in the Toyota stable. It's now or never for D'Oliveira. He's used to this pressure. He's a former champion, multiple champion, of course. He's going to cross the line. He's got another lap in him if the tyres will last, but where's this going to put him? He scrapes through to 8th at the moment, but he's right on the bubble, and it could be another Nissan that pushes him out. No, Hironaka can't improve. He stays 11th. That saves D'Oliveira. The rest of the cars are peeling off. There's only 1 or 2 cars still on a lap, and this for Senna Sakaguchi, well, it has to be the lap, but I'm not sure if it is good enough. Where's this going to land, that K-Tunes machine? Oh, it is 5th place, so right in the dying moments. What a lap from Senna Sakaguchi to drag that car up. Well, here are the results for Group B. Honda NSX on the top, ahead of that Saitama Toyopet, the 2 Toyotas 2nd and 3rd. Then it's a Ferrari in 4th. And as Jamie said, that Team Le Mans Audi scraping through in 6th place. Just behind Senna Sakaguchi's K-Tunes machine. That was a last ditch lap from him. 1 or 2 names missing out. In 9th place, D'Oliveira in the realised Nissan. Well, that's all but set the scene for the first half of GT300 qualifying. We'll be back with Q2 with GT300 just after we get going in the GT500.
The 38 Ceramo car, that's Ishiura and Tachikawa, and the 14 rookie racing car, which is Kazuo Oshima and Kenta Yamashita. So those 3 cars will be taking penalties come the race on Sunday.
Well, Toyota won here in 2019, the LC 500 of course won in 2017 and 2018. They can go well here, but it's also a good track for Honda. We think that this track might suit the characteristics of the Honda, but they're laden with weight. Of course, Honda 2 wins and 3 poles in the last 5 races. But the talking point for us also, Jamie, and we spoke about this before we came on air, who had Nissan winning the last 2 races so far this year at the beginning of the season? Not many. Aboard the keeper car, this is so important, he scrapes through. Hirakawa drags that keeper, Tom's Toyota, up into 8th place. And so I have to say, with a Tom's car down in 12th, and that Stanley machine there, the NSX down in 13th, those are the 2 big names that miss out. But really, not a huge surprise. Yamamoto was really up against it there with the stage 3 restrictor.
That is significant for the championship. If Baguette can get that 17 car up on the first couple of rows, we really need a big result here to keep their championship hopes alive.
Dunlop dominant in the first segment of GT500 qualifying. The 2 big hitters in the championship with all of their weight and restrictors are out. They will not feature in Q.
Yeah, and that's one of the great things about it, really. We do see sometimes that even the cars with the success weight board manage to do well. You see some surprises. The box changes, of course, race to race. That's why we've seen the 31. Prius looking much better here. And of course, with such different characteristics of the different rule sets, the GT300 versus the FIA GT3 versus the mother chassis, it does give you some real variation, and but some fantastic drivers, a real nice mix of veterans and young guys that are coming up through the ranks. Put those on the screen now. Togo Tsugunami's in his second full season, I think, in this car. He's one to watch for the future. Then veterans like Kazuki Hoshino, who's retiring at the end of this season. That was announced just before Sugo. But yeah, it's a real nice. It's a very interesting class. There's a lot to get stuck into when you look at it in more detail. You know, it can often be
not the qualifying session that Takahashi Kobayashi was hoping for, but as the checker flag comes out, it's that car, Koki Saga, aboard the Toyota Prius that's had the balance of performance break for this weekend, quite rightfully so, that finishes top of the pile. I don't think anyone's going to beat that time. Results for GT300 qualifying. It's Toyota at the top, ahead of Subaru, the Prius ahead of that BRZ R&D Sport machine. Then it's the Saitama Toyopet Supra in 3rd place, ahead of the Leon Pyramid Mercedes. K-Tunes getting up there in 5th place as well. Good lap from Morio Nita in that 2nd segment of qualifying. They're just ahead of Hiroki Yoshimoto in the LM Corsa Supra Lamborghini. They're in 7th, ahead of the first of the mother chassis, the Muta Lotus, rounding out the top 8. So good qualifying session there. Pretty dominant from Toyota, 2/10 ahead, 6/10 ahead of 3rd place, and a whole second ahead of 4th place. Quiet before the storm. Here are the 8 cars competing in this final Q2 session. Keep your eyes on Miko Sasahara and Takuya Izawa in the Red Bull and Modelo car. What can Toyota do? Kazuya Oshima in that Ineos car. Najiri, the reigning Super Formula champion, crowned last weekend, another one to keep an eye on. You can't ever forget about Quintarelli in the Nissan, and the returnee Sasha Fenestres. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on in this session as well. he'll be in the 37 keeper. Sasahara goes quickest. Pole in the dying seconds gets the checkered flag. Yukio Sasahara 7/1000ths of a second quicker than, well, it's the Modelo machine of Izawa at the moment, but look at that. It's Oshima in the Ineos car. Where did that lap time come from? Didn't see that coming at all. He split the two Dunlops. Shot Hondas by the smallest of margins. That could have been pole position for Oshima.
Yeah, that was a really fantastic lap from Oshima. Not one of the contenders really, based on the evidence of earlier today, but that was that pulled it out of the bag there when it mattered the most. Unfortunately, that is one of the 3 cars with the penalty. This is another one, the 37 car at Sacha Fenestraz. Where is he going to end up? 3 seconds off the pace in the end.
Kovalainen will look at Oshima's time with surprise, I'm sure. There is Kaz Oshima's time. Look how close it is between the top 2. Honda ahead of Toyota. And that was a tightly fought session. 2 NSXs on the second row, followed by a Nissan, a Toyota, and then another Honda and Toyota rounding out that all-important top 8. But it is that Bridgestone Toyota that will start as a very, very strong, strongly backed car, I think, because the 2 Dunlops might go back in the race. But we've got a Michelin shod machine as well, so 3 different tyre manufacturers in the top 5. That's good going in GT500.